Okay, for those of you that are interested in a .22 caliber compact air rifle that is, extremely accurate and has, decent power at 30 foot-pounds at the muzzle, and a highest shot count, which is about maybe 70 shots. Every time you have to fill it up, then you need to look at the FX Bobcat Mach II and 22. This is a 30-inch rifle, which is comparable to many of the bullpups that are out there now. If you really, need a bullpup in your collection, then maybe this is not the one for you. But again, it's just as compact as one, and it offers the same benefits as a bullpup. So, in my opinion, if you really need a bullpup, and you just want to go out and get one, then that's fine. But if you have this rifle, which is kind of like it's not really a bullpup, it's just like a carbine rifle, but at 30 inches. You're not going to go wrong with this FX Bobcat Mach II. Okay, I just want you to see this beauty there. Okay, so there it is. I've owned this air rifle for about 6 months now, and I can honestly tell you that I did not have any issues whatsoever. No problems at all. Being that this is the second revision of this rifle, I think that FX, they hit a home run with the Mach 1, but they made some minor improvements just to, solidify the reliability of this particular air rifle. I see no reason why you would want to go into a bullpup unless, you just want to say I have a bullpup in my collection. But this is what you get right here. Now, starting from the back, you get the the rubber recoil pad that's adjustable with one screw, and it goes up and down. So right here, the screw's right here, and you can bring it up and down to whatever position that feels more comfortable. Also, like some other bullpups, you can actually store two 12 pellet magazines in the stock area. So you can have two in the stock, ready to go, and then one in the breech. That's 36 pellets available to you right there on the rifle. The good thing about this is the side lever cocking mechanism, which is, I think, a little bit superior than the bolt lever. It's much more smooth than most levers. Although there are some manufacturers like Daystate who make excellent bolt lever rifles. But here you have the cheek piece, and I believe that it's adjustable because there is a little screw on the top, and I believe it just goes backward and forward a little bit. Okay, so here is the 12 pellet magazine. And you just stick it right in from the right to the left side. Forward. And just make sure that the safety lever is on safe. That would be safe to the left, fire to the right. So just make sure it's on safe now because it's ready to go. The grip, synthetic stock with a nice little grip here. It's good for all weather conditions. The trigger itself is one of FX triggers. They're the best in the game. The forearm here is slightly portly. It's kind of, you know, it is portly. It's, you know, when you're holding it, it's thick. You know, it's a thick. You get your hands around it, and you can get a nice grip on it. The tube, you can see like these recessed grooves. You can see the tubes, the air tube, the air cylinder, and to fill it up, you would have to, has this twist design where you have to twist it to get the port open. Now, the Mach 1 had the male Foster nipple on it. This one has the probe. This is the probe with the male Foster connector on the top. And all you got to do to fill this up, basically just slide it in here. And then fill it up to 220 bar. Let me just move it slightly over. So, I think, to me it doesn't matter whether it's a male Foster or a probe. I kind of like the probe adapter. All you got to do is, you know, when you finish filling it up, you pull it out and you just twist it to close the port. And, you know, at least that way, you know, there won't be any debris going inside the airport cylinder valve. Fully shrouded barrel. Very quiet. And then it has two baffles at the end, which I think are removable. This is one of the quietest air rifles that I own. It has the you know, the dovetail rail on the top. It looks like it's held on with 5 bolts. On this particular rifle, I have the Hawk Air Max side focus 4x16x50 with the big side wheel. I think this is this scope complements this Mark II, especially when targeting your distance, you know, at beyond 50 yards. And at 50 yards, this rifle is just on point. We're talking about pellet next to pellet at 50 yards, over and over again. The accuracy is phenomenal on this. And it's, what is it? Rifle weighs in at 7.5 pounds. With the scope, it's going to be a little bit more. Very awesome rifle. No problems. My pellet of choice is the JSB Jumbo Heavies at 18 grains. This is the only pellet that I shoot out of this rifle. I already bought 5 large tins of the 500 count. And I don't expect to be changing pellets any soon because they're really phenomenal with the accuracy. Let me just turn it around for you. I'll show you the other side of the rifle. If you see, I don't know if you can see, but there is the screw to adjust the recoil pad. Then when you bring it around, you get to see a couple of things. Alright, first of all here, this is the gauge for the regulator. This wheel on the top is the power adjuster wheel. It has, I always keep it on high power, but you can bring it down to middle power and then low power. I always keep it on 3. I always keep it all the way up. For me, if I wanted to shoot this rifle on low power, I guess, you know, you have the option to do so, which is good. You may want to, on a lower range, you may want to shoot a different pellet, maybe a JSB 15 grain or even the H&N 14.66 Field Trophy FTT, which is a very good pellet as well. Okay, so now I just want to show you the difference between all this, the minute differences between the Mach 1 and the Mach 2 Bobcat model. Okay, so here is the Bobcat 30 Mach 1, and if you can see, you fill the gun from the bottom here with the male Foster fitting, and the Mach 2, you fill it under here where the port is with the probe. The Bobcat 30 actually doesn't have a power wheel like the 22. The Bobcat 30 is always set on kill. With the gauge, the Mach 2 has the regulator gauge in the stock area. This is the air tube gauge here. The air tube gauge on the Mach 2 is actually in the front of the tube on this side. That's a dual gauge system. Now if you turn it around, on the Mach 2, this side lever, I guess knob, if you want to call it that, is longer. This is short. The Mach 2 has a longer lever. It sticks out more. And I think that's it for the changes on the outside. I kind of like the Mach 2 moving the airport from here to the front, because it kind of, smooths out the line. So as far as any internal differences between the Mach 1 and the Mach 2, I really don't know. If you guys can chime in, you can do that. But so my final thoughts on the 22. Does it look like a rifle? Not really. And to me anyway, it looks more like a bullpup. Now let me just show you a rifle, and then you could see for yourself if you think there's a difference. So here's a rifle. Now look at this. This is I mean, look how much bigger it is. This is I don't know, maybe a 48-inch rifle as opposed to a 30-inch package. I mean, this doesn't look, besides for the synthetic stock, it doesn't look the same. So with this model, you kind of get the best of both worlds. Again, it's compact, it's relatively light. The stock comes with magazine holders. It's a reliable, rock solid package that has, again, that I've had no problems with. So in the bullpup market craze nowadays, you might be able to fit this in with the other bullpups. I know some of you are going to say it's not a bullpup, but it looks more like a bullpup. It feels more like a bullpup, and it handles more like a bullpup. Regardless whether it's a bullpup or not, this is a phenomenal rifle from FX, and I would recommend, if anyone was interested and wanted to buy it, you cannot go wrong with the Mach 2. All right, thank you for watching.